All right. So right now, we are not entering into the individual dispositions and skills. And so this is my reflection for it, for this journey and these classes. To answer the question of which causes you to deeply revise your thinking and understanding, honestly, this if I had to choose classes that really revised my thinking, especially on how to be an educator, would be these classes. These classes have taught me on how to put my students a lot more in the center of their instructions, a lot more relevant to them, a lot more getting out of this cycle that, especially in math, just get out of the cycle of do your work, do a test, do the work, do the test, do your work, do the test. It really was more so of how can I make it more intentional? How can I be more mindful, honestly, of understanding them and also realizing that there was a lot more personalities. I got to learn more about them because of these classes. There was I have to say this both classes took me out of my comfort zone completely. So it was really hard. Because being only a second year teacher and then being that this is my first year teaching math, I'd say that it was hard. Already, I'm already at the comfort zone of teaching math. Like I love math. This is my dream right here, but actually teaching it the way that none of my teachers ever taught me. There was one teacher that kind of took us out of our comfort zone, but not to the point where I didn't realize that it was gonna be that hard. I thought, okay, we're gonna make math more engaging, more fun, not realizing the effort that was gonna take. And I would have to say that I'm now slowly, comfortably ready to live it. And actually, to the point, it actually helps me get through to where I'm now ready to teach my second to the last unit for this quarter, my third quarter. And I already have my students chosen in groups to the point that they're going to be being in mini lessons of a part of the unit and being taught in a way that they're going to learn, explore, and they're going to teach their classmates, not me. I teach them and guide them, but they're going to do the rest for me. Um, to make this more collaborative and it definitely shifted our goals to realize that together we do a lot better. Um, and it really, I want to say, put an impact on me to make sure that when I teach, it is definitely a way for my students to learn and explore rather than me telling them what they need to learn and explore. Yes, I'm going to tell them the content part, like, hey, this is what you got to look at, this is what you got to look for, but let them explore. Let them be the ones to realize and teach themselves and realize and a lot more steps and how they can apply it to their lives. Because that's always the number one question on math. Why do I need math? And so that's what this whole thing was about. And honestly, it kept me asking myself, why do we need math? Why am I teaching this to kids? Why am I teaching? And that's actually the number one question I kept asking was, why am I teaching this? And that kind of helped me considering what I was thinking about, how I was doing my classes. It was always another question. And I think that's what was the hardest thing about this time around was that the self-reflection I had to put on why am I teaching? What am I teaching my kids? What am I teaching? The idea of what am I teaching? People are like, well, you're teaching math. No. Yes, but no. What am I truly teaching? Beyond math, what am I truly teaching? Beyond equations, what am I teaching? That was the number one thing. I could not answer myself until the very end. And I realized it was more so of having them look at themselves and realize they are more than what they think. And so that was the ongoing struggle, I would also say. And there was moments of celebration that when they got it and they understood it, but they saw that math was in the real world. That was the celebration that I saw. That I was just so proud of them, realizing that, like, wow, it takes a lot to build a business. Wow, it takes a lot to be a teacher. They're realizing it realized I celebrated what they realized it took a lot to be a teacher. They thought teaching was just okay, come in, tell students what to do, make sure you give them a test. Then they realized that to make a class fun, to make a class more intentional, to make a class really participate, it takes a lot. And they realized that in their projects. And they're gonna realize it in this unit, as we slowly get started, that it's gonna be in a way that is gonna change our lives forever, probably. Because honestly, when we started as a class, I'm gonna talk about as a class and for me as an educator, um, it made a difference. You could tell the difference between how we started. When we started, it was just more so everybody trying to get to used to each other, dealing with the different behaviors, dealing with um students feeling unmotivated to do math. Then we got to this quarter, um, and actually more closer to the end of the second quarter, the last quarter that just passed, we could say that they started to feel a little bit more motivated. They started to feel different. I feel like, oh, math is something worth learning. Um, and honestly, it made a difference in the way I teach, made a difference in the way I think about them, the way I try to plan them. And rather than seeing them as students, I started to see them as colleagues, like little mini colleagues that needs to still get a license and degree, but they're licensed enough in life. And that's what I like to them, is colleagues in life. Rather than, yeah, I'm the one with the degree. Yeah, I'm the one with, I mean, I don't have a math degree, so we're still learning together. But in the sense of we all live life, and they taught me so much. They taught me on how to be more empathetic. They taught me how to be more reflective, taught me how to be more ready to step out of my comfort zone, even though I'm so used to, and that it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to ask for help. And they were teaching me that those lessons I'm still learning too. And that's what I tell them. So really we're still growing together as a class rather than us individually struggling as a class. It's just that in our individual choices, are we going to continue to move with the class or stay behind? And that's the number one question that me and my own students have to ask ourselves. Um, and I want to say as an educator, definitely when I first started this year, I was just going with the motions. And now I'm being more intentional and more self-aware of where my students are at, being more making that math is useful. And so that was kind of the things that really wanted to make sure that for this next unit and for the next rest of the year is that my students are doing a lot more real world connections and ways to solve the community or ways that their creativity is off the charts again, and in a way that shows that they can do it. They know math. That way by the end of the year it's them saying, you know what, if I may have not remembered every single thing Miss Little taught me, but the one thing I can say is that she let us grow. She let us do things that no other math teacher has ever done for us. She's done things that were, yes, challenging, but it was for the purpose to push us to our fullest potential, to our fullest way that we needed to do things. And so that pretty much is it for my reflection of this journey throughout the time of this term and taking these classes. So to my professors, I just want to say thank you for your support, your guidance, and definitely hope maybe in the near future we get to collab a lot more better. Okay. Thanks for listening.